Hey Reddit, I'm a long-time lurker, first-time poster, and I desperately need some unbiased opinions. My family is in absolute shambles, and while I logically know I did what I had to do, the emotional toll is immense, and I find myself questioning everything. This all happened about 6 months ago, but it feels like yesterday. Let me introduce myself. I'm Sarah, 32F. My world revolves around my daughter, Maya, who just turned 6. She's my absolute everything, bright, curious, and the kindest little soul. My husband, Liam, 33M, is my rock, and together, we've always tried to create a stable, loving environment for Maya. The problem, or rather, the source of this entire nightmare, is my younger sister, Clara, 30F. Clara has been battling addiction since she was 16. It started with experimenting in high school, hanging out with a really bad crowd, and spiraled quickly. My parents, God bless them, tried everything. Rehab stints, therapy, tough love, soft love, financial support, cutting her off, you name it, they tried it. But nothing ever stuck. She dropped out of high school, bounced between low-paying jobs she couldn't keep, and more often than not, ended up back on my parents' couch, needing money, a place to crash, or just to be bailed out of some new mess. For a while, it seemed like she might turn a corner. She met David in her early 20s, a genuinely good guy who saw something redeemable in her. They got married, and against all odds, they had 2 beautiful children, Leo, now 8M, and Nora, now 7F. For a few years, Clara seemed stable. She was a mom, she was working part-time, she seemed normal. We all breathed a collective sigh of relief, thinking she'd finally found her footing. Then, tragedy struck. David died suddenly and unexpectedly from a ruptured aneurysm. He was gone in a flash, leaving Clara a widow with 2 young children. The grief, coupled with her fragile mental health and latent addiction issues, sent her spiraling, fast and hard. She just couldn't cope. The house became neglected, the kids were often left unsupervised or not properly fed, and the old habits returned with a vengeance. She started associating with her old crowd again, and eventually, her addiction became the primary focus of her life. My parents and I tried to step in. We took Leo and Nora when we could, tried to get Clara back into therapy, but it was like talking to a brick wall. Her neglect of the children became alarming. There were instances of the kids showing up at school unkempt, or with minor injuries that Clara couldn't explain. The final straw came when David's sister, who had always been close to him, found out Clara was having an affair with her drug dealer, a guy named Marcus who was a known criminal in our small town. David's sister, seeing the children's welfare at stake, contacted family services. It was a long, painful battle. David's family, especially his sister, fought hard for custody. Clara put up a fight, but she was in no state to care for children. The court saw through her flimsy excuses and ultimately awarded full custody of Leo and Nora to David's sister. Clara's parental rights were severely restricted, only supervised visits, and only if she could pass a drug test beforehand. This was a crushing blow, but one that everyone, including my parents on some level, knew was necessary for the children's safety. After she lost custody, Clara's focus shifted in a way that, looking back, was chillingly predatory. She couldn't have her own kids, so she started spending an excessive amount of time at my house, directing all her misplaced maternal energy and warped affections onto Maya. At first, I felt immense pity for her. My sister, heartbroken, lost, clinging to the only family she had left. I tried to be supportive. I let her visit often, thinking maybe a positive influence, a healthy family environment, would do her good. I really wanted her to heal. Liam was more cautious, but he understood my desire to help my sister. But it didn't take long for her behavior to become unsettling. Clara wasn't just visiting. She was trying to insert herself as a third parent, or worse, trying to become Maya's only parent. She'd undermine every rule Liam and I had. If I said no sweets before dinner, Clara would sneak Maya a candy bar. If it was bedtime, she'd encourage Maya to stay up late, just for Auntie Clara. She'd tell Maya things like, homework is boring, let's go play, when I was trying to get Maya to do her schoolwork. She'd constantly tell Maya she was too pretty to worry about books, and that someday a rich man would take care of her. She started buying Maya overly extravagant, inappropriate gifts, expensive clothes, electronics that Maya was too young for, all while Clara herself was still living off my parents. She'd try to create secrets with Maya, whispering things, pulling her away from me, trying to exclude me from their games. She wanted to be the fun aunt who swooped in and made all Maya's dreams come true, regardless of the consequences. Liam started seeing it before I did, or perhaps he just allowed himself to acknowledge it more quickly. He pointed out the subtle shifts in Maya's behavior, a growing defiance, a tendency to play Clara and me against each other. My stomach would drop every time Clara would say something like, "Maya and I have a special secret, don't we, sweetie?" Or "You're my favorite girl in the whole wide world, even more than my own." It was unsettling, the way she fixated on Maya, almost as if she saw Maya as a replacement for the children she'd lost. I tried to talk to her. "Clara, you can't undermine our rules. It confuses Maya." She'd either get defensive or pretend she didn't know what I was talking about. I tried to limit her visits, but then she'd show up unannounced, or call Maya directly on her kid's tablet, which Clara bought for her, against our wishes, begging to see her. It felt like a constant battle, and my discomfort grew into genuine alarm. Then came the Disneyland proposal. Maya's 6th birthday was approaching, and Clara suddenly became fixated on taking her to Disneyland. "It'll be the best birthday ever, Maya," she'd coo to my daughter, completely circumventing Liam and me. I was immediately hesitant. The idea of Clara, with her history and unstable behavior, taking my daughter anywhere unsupervised was terrifying. Liam was outright against it. But Clara was persistent. She pleaded, she promised, she swore on everything holy that she was sober, that she had changed, that she just wanted to create one beautiful, happy memory for Maya. She cried, she played the victim, talking about how much she missed her own kids and how this would be a chance for her to prove she could be a responsible aunt. My parents, unfortunately, were her biggest cheerleaders. "Oh, Sarah, she's trying so hard. It's just Disneyland. Let her do something nice for Maya." After weeks of pressure, and hoping against hope that maybe, just maybe, this was a genuine step towards recovery for Clara, Liam and I reluctantly agreed. But we set strict conditions. Liam and I would be there the entire time. We would handle all logistics and payments. Clara would follow our lead completely. No unsupervised time with Maya. Clara readily agreed to all terms, sounding almost too eager. She swore up and down that she understood, that she just wanted to be part of the family experience. We scheduled it for a Friday, after school. The plan was for Maya to finish kindergarten, and then Liam and I would pick her up, meet Clara at her place, and we'd all drive down together. The day came. Maya was ecstatic, buzzing with excitement for her birthday Disneyland trip. Liam and I were making final preparations. I called Maya's school around 2:45 p.m., just before dismissal, to confirm everything was set. "Oh, Mrs. Davis," the receptionist said cheerfully, "Maya was picked up about 15 minutes ago. Her aunt signed her out." My blood ran cold. "Her aunt? What aunt?" "Clara Davis," she said, reading from the sign-out sheet. "She said you were running late, and you called and authorized her to pick Maya up." My heart stopped. I had made no such call. My name isn't Davis. And I had certainly not authorized Clara to pick up Maya alone. "No," I choked out, "no, that's not right. My sister's name is Clara, but she doesn't have permission to pick up Maya. And my last name isn't Davis. My husband's name is Liam, and my name is Sarah Thompson." The receptionist's tone changed immediately. "I'm so sorry, Mrs. Thompson." She presented ID that matched the name she gave, and our record showed an aunt was listed for emergency pickup, so we didn't question it. "She said you called." Panic, cold and sharp, seized me. I hung up and immediately called Liam. He felt the same sickening dread. We started frantically calling Clara. Her phone rang, then went to voicemail. We called her again. And again. And again. No answer. After the 5th try, her phone went straight to voicemail. She turned it off. My mind raced. Disneyland. That's where she'd gone. She'd lied to the school, lied to us, and kidnapped my daughter. The sheer audacity, the cold calculation of it, made me sick to my stomach. My next call was to my mother. "Mom, have you heard from Clara? She picked up Maya from school, she's not answering her phone, and she took her to Disneyland without our permission." There was a pause. A too long pause. Then, my mother's voice, hesitant. Oh, Sarah, well, she did mention she was going to take Maya to Disneyland today. She said you and Liam decided to surprise Maya and let her just have a special day with her auntie." What? I screamed, my voice cracking. Mom, you knew? You knew she was doing this? We explicitly told her we had to be there. This is kidnapping, Mom. Oh, don't be so dramatic, Sarah, my mom said, a dismissive tone creeping into her voice. She just wanted to give Maya a magical birthday. She loves Maya so much. She was just trying to make some happy memories. The betrayal hit me harder than almost anything. My own mother, enabling this, covering for it, justifying my daughter's abduction. The decades of just let it go, Sarah, had led to this. My anger was so intense it felt like a physical pain. Mom, I said, my voice dangerously calm, I am calling the police. Right now. You are either with us in protecting Maya, or you are against us. She scoffed. You wouldn't dare. You'd ruin Clara's life. And mine. Watch me, I said, and hung up. Liam and I immediately called the police. It was the hardest call I've ever made. Explaining that my sister, Maya's aunt, had taken her. The police took it incredibly seriously. A missing child report, especially with Clara's history and the evidence of deception, escalated quickly. They got a ping on Clara's phone, before she turned it off, that placed her heading south, towards Anaheim. They put out an APB. The next few hours were agony. Every minute felt like an eternity. We sat by the phone, picturing Maya, scared and confused. Finally, around 8 p.m., the call came. The police had located Clara and Maya at Disneyland. Clara had been found trying to get into a ride with Maya. When approached by police, she became agitated and resisted arrest, claiming they were ruining a little girl's birthday. But the police were firm. Clara was arrested on site for kidnapping and resisting arrest. Maya, thankfully, was unharmed but incredibly confused and upset. When we finally got to her, Maya just clung to me, sobbing. Auntie Clara said you guys couldn't come because you were too busy, she cried. My heart shattered. Clara had outright lied to her, too, making us out to be the villains. The aftermath was a whirlwind. Maya was traumatized. We immediately got her into therapy. She struggled with nightmares and separation anxiety, constantly asking, Auntie Clara won't take me again, right, Mommy? It was heartbreaking. My mother, true to form, continued to try and manipulate the situation. She called us endlessly, begging us not to press charges, saying Clara was fragile and didn't mean any harm. She even blamed me for overreacting and ruining the family. This pushed me to my absolute limit. After a final, explosive conversation where she continued to defend Clara and refused to acknowledge the gravity of what had happened, Liam and I made the agonizing decision to go no contact with my mother. It broke my heart, but I couldn't have that kind of denial and enabling in my daughter's life. If my own mother couldn't prioritize her grandchild's safety over her addict daughter's feelings, then I couldn't trust her. We proceeded with legal action against Clara. It was a harrowing process. Clara's public defender tried to paint her as a victim of her addiction, arguing for leniency due to her mental state. But the evidence was overwhelming. The school sign-out sheet, the police report from the arrest, the phone records, and Maya's therapist even provided testimony, without Maya directly testifying, thankfully, about the trauma inflicted. The judge was unsparing. Clara was found guilty of kidnapping and resisting arrest. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The judge stated explicitly that her actions showed a clear disregard for the child's safety and well-being, a pattern of manipulation, and a high risk of repeat behavior if given a chance. He emphasized that addiction was a reason, not an excuse, for endangering a child. Liam and I also successfully obtained permanent restraining orders against both Clara and my mother, which gave us a terrifying but necessary sense of security. It means they can't come within a certain distance of us or Maya, and they can't contact us. 6 months later, our family is in pieces. Clara is in prison. My mother is isolated, refusing to acknowledge any fault, and has essentially become estranged from us. I miss the family I thought I had, but I know it was built on a shaky foundation of denial and enabling. Maya is slowly healing, but the scars are there. I've never once regretted calling the police, or pressing charges, or cutting off my mother. My priority was, and always will be, protecting Maya. But I still wonder. Was there another way? Could I have handled it differently? Was I too harsh? Did I take it too far, effectively tearing my family apart, even if it was for Maya's safety? I know Clara has a disease, but she also hurt my child. Ida?